Hey Siri, define sustainability.
I found this for you.
Sustainability, the property of being sustainable. Helpful. Okay, how about sustainable?
This might answer your question.
Sustain, lengthen or extend in duration or space, undergo as of injuries and illness, provide with nourishment, supply with necessities and supports, but not what we're looking for. Well, it seems even the all-knowing Siri doesn't have a particularly good handle on sustainability when it comes to gardening, at any rate. How about I give you my definition of sustainability and show you a few examples that'll help it all make sense? I've got a pretty pragmatic approach to sustainability in the garden, and I break it down to being as simple as looking at inputs and outputs and reducing both of them. So you reduce the amount of water you use in the garden, the amount of fertiliser, the amount of chemicals, even the amount of maintenance that goes into a garden. You also reduce the outputs, or at least you reduce the negative ones. Instead, you ramp up your production of positive outputs, things like mulch, compost and food. Now, I reckon one of the most confusing points about sustainability is how you actually make your garden sustainable. Well, the simple fact is sustainability is a big thing, but at the same time, it's a big thing made up of lots of little things. So all of these little sustainable steps that you take are like building blocks, and they have great synergy. So the more you put together, the more sustainable your garden actually becomes. A path is a path, right? Wrong. Think about how your paths function. A gravel or pebble path run across a slope with a slight downhill angle will capture and slow rainwater and runoff. This allows it to soak into the soil, deep watering nearby garden beds. Basically, it'll function like a swale, much better than a hard surface and drains collecting water to send somewhere else. And how well does this pathway idea work? Well, here's the garden bed below that pebble path. The only water it's received since the plant's established well over 18 months ago is rain and runoff from the path above. When it comes to rain, there's no such thing as wastewater, just wasted water. Here's another path idea, a jetty-style boardwalk. This still allows water to get down into the soil, has minimum impact on the landscape when you build it as it sits above ground, and it even creates habitat space beneath. Reducing slope is a key aim in a sustainable garden. Just like with the gravel paths, tiered or terraced garden beds slow water, allowing it to soak into the soil. It basically makes them self-watering, but importantly it reduces runoff and erosion. And notice all that rock? That came from the garden, more waste put to good reuse. One of my favourite things is mulch. Really, there's no excuse for not mulching, and it's the single simplest, most cost-effective sustainable step you can take. It retains moisture, insulates the soil, prevents erosion from wind or water, breaks down, adding organic matter to the soil, and it brings continuity to the look of your garden. And if there are areas that you've cleared or created and won't be planting straight away, mulch them while they lay fallow. The soil beneath will just naturally improve until you're ready to plant out. Don't be afraid to let things just sit for a while. You may be surprised what pops up. We've found native plants like this little ground-covered dichondra returning by themselves. Selecting the right plants for a given spot is critical too. At the head of our dry creek bed, which works to capture and disperse water in heavy rain, we have a couple of varieties of clumping bamboo. They're at the foot of a rock shelf where they naturally capture seepage from the levels above, staying lush and full without watering. And if you've got a spot that's too difficult, don't fight it, just source the right plants. This succulent garden is on rocky, shallow soil in lots of sun, and it looks fantastic. Its water comes from nearby pathways. Oh, this probably has you thinking, but hang on, it's not all native plants. Well, that's the thing. Like I said, I take a pragmatic approach to sustainability. If the plant works in the spot and it doesn't create a burden, then add it. That's why you'll find a big bed of carefully selected rose varieties at my place. They're sustainable and hardy. I just made sure I picked ones that avoided typical problems for my area, such as black spot. Ponds are a great sustainable addition too, as they provide habitat and they cool the surrounding area down. One way to make a pond even more of a sustainable positive is to connect an aquaponic grow bed so that your pond water feeds your herbs or veggies and the bed filters the pond water. I always think recycling too, or perhaps I should say upcycling, putting so-called waste to a higher value use, such as our compost bay made from salvaged untreated hardwood pallets, a potting bench made from a barbecue trolley throwout, or our aquaponic grow bed that's a repurposed set of old concrete laundry tubs. Well, there you go. There's a few sustainable ideas to get you going. Look, there's no real rocket science to sustainability in the garden. Most of it's just about changing your thinking and becoming aware of the impact of the things that you do in your garden, changing negative outputs into positives, and always asking the question, what sustainable thing can I do in the garden today?